Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. We are the Hillsborough County Young Democrats, and so we're so excited to be here. I am here with Conor Darken. Conor, thanks so much for being here again.
Thank you very much. You are very welcome.
So this, for you guys, for the viewers at home, this is a special quarantine issue of our article. So Conor wrote an amazing article about, I'll let him get into it, but a really developmental disability statute here in the state of Florida. And so this is actually something that you wrote a couple months ago. And so the plan was to record it months ago, but unfortunately COVID-19 hit. So now we're doing this virtually through Zoom. So it's the second greatest thing. First off, how are you? Are you surviving quarantine? Are you
Yes. I am in my house pretty much all
yeah.
day, every day. Today I had to go to Publix to get medication, which is something that I'm only doing when I've absolutely got to. Publix doesn't want to transport them. I wish that they wanted. I wish the pharmacy could bring themselves to do that,
Yeah.
but the pharmacy can't do it with a shift because your medication is really important, I guess. So we have to go out and get it with masks,
That's definitely essential.
masks and gloves, and yeah.
That's the whole essential thing. To me, I never know the line between essential and not essential. To me, everything is essential to me. Like getting my haircut, I think is essential. I haven't had a haircut in like over like 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and I think it's essential. So I'm ready for the economy to open back up. I'm ready for the restaurants to open back up fully. I can't wait for the world to get back normal again. So I'm excited for the reopening of everything. So again, like we talked about earlier,
Yes, so am I.
Connor did a really great article, and it's titled "Crippling Laws for the Disabled: A Look at Repealing a Developmental Disability Statute." So, really, talk to us at the very beginning. Tell us about the article and why you decided to write it.
This is an article about two different statutory laws, which are laws passed by legislative branches. In this case, we're talking about the United States Congress, the House and the Senate, and the Florida legislature, and which consists of our House and our Senate. Passing statutory laws is the main aspect of what Congress does all day. The Congress can do mostly whatever it wants without regard to having to conform to state laws, because by the laws of our country, the federal government overrules state, county, city, school board, everything. But the state of Florida has to conform itself to federal law because that's how we operate. You would expect that everybody in all levels of government, especially those elected to Congress from the state of Florida, most especially those who are elected to Congress in the state of Florida, having previously served in the Florida legislature, would keep a good eye on what legislation passes in the Florida legislature, and that the state of Florida would have people who keep the same kind of good eye on what goes on in Washington, D.C., because you don't want any conflicts. I like to look at these as a hobby because I just do.
It's so interesting. I've ever met anybody who loved that detail. You actually mentioned that in your article. You said, I think towards the end of the article, one of your hobbies is looking through, what do you say, on the last page you say, but the matter still exists that I have only found the text of chapter 144 by luck while randomly browsing through the U.S. code because it is an unending hobby of mine. So that's so cool. I've never met you. This is a hobby. What piqued your interest in this to begin with?
Trying to understand the way the world worked, trying to understand why things were as they were. I have had issues getting a job, specifically trying to get a job in government, and I figured that I'd try to look up why that was and how to fix it. And then I figured if I have this kind of knowledge, maybe somebody can hire me.
Yeah.
So it hasn't worked out that way yet, but I'm getting there.
Just to give the viewers the perspective, you have a disability, correct?
I do. I have autism. Yes.
That's what kind of fueled your interest in that. So I really love when people. That's the good thing about our system. When you see something that is not right, or you see something you want to learn about, you can always do your research, see how that affects other people, because you're not the only person going through that same stipulation.
Yeah. No, there are many with autism. Getting it more every day. It's not decreasing. It is growing.
Got you. So let's dive right into the article. I know one of the articles that you mentioned and one of the specifics, it's Title 42, the Public Health and Welfare, Chapter 75, Programs for Individuals with Disabilities, Section 6000. And I know you said from the wording given from the Florida statute, you believe that these are federal statutes for Developmental Disabilities Assistance, Bill of Rights.
Yes.
Tell us a little more about
that. Statutory law, along with going into all levels, is divided into different subject matters. Obviously, as you might guess, there are a ton of federal laws because we've got a big country. Title 42 is about public health and welfare, and it's everything from medical stuff, important now, along with welfare programs. 75 is programs for individuals with disabilities, programs supposed to help people with disabilities of all kinds, physical and mental, like mine. Section 6000 has some stuff I'm going to talk about. There's section 6021 and section 6024. I might be mispronouncing this because I've never gotten a formal education.
Yeah.
I think what this says is section 6024, subsection D, paragraph 2, subparagraph I. If somebody can prove to me that I'm massacring the designation for that, I'm not going to be angry. So yeah, there can be many laws, and there can be many subsections and paragraphs of laws, because life and society are complex. So you have to sometimes add a lot of stuff to make sure you get everything governed the way you want it. So I believe this comprises of the whole Part B of the Developmental Disabilities Assistance and Bill of Rights Act. And the source I'm getting this all from is the official U.S. House website, hosting the U.S. Code of Law.
So you also mentioned, you cited those. So
yes,
once we post the article online on YouTube, we'll in the comment section, we'll put these links. So our viewers can go in and look at these.
Yes, there are links. I made sure to put them. They're easily readable, somewhat easily readable. You have to focus, I guess, to get past everything. But yeah, they're clickable. I made sure it's and I didn't give those links, but somewhere else you can go to look at this is the Cornell School of Law. They have been working very hard for a long time to have their own database of the same thing, and that's also great. But this is from the U.S. House. So yeah, links, provable, read them. Going up the article in this video. The statutes and the 6 sub-chapters forming Chapter 75 that are in first paragraph that we're talking about here have been repealed. They no longer legally exist. They were repealed on 2 separate dates.
And you put that in your article. You said, I don't know why President Clinton signed those bills repealing it. But it's still affecting the state of Florida. That's kind of, it still affects our day-to-day here in the state of Florida. Let's talk a little bit about
that. They were repealed in 1994 and 2000. President Clinton signed that. I know that it's affecting the state of Florida because of the state statute passed by the Florida legislature, signed by a governor. I'm not certain which one. It says Title 29, the title for Florida statutes is in Roman numerals. Public Health, Chapter 393, Developmental Disabilities. So same kind of thing that we're talking about with the federal law, same topic area. Section 2, transfer of Florida Developmental Disabilities Council has formally created this chapter to private nonprofit corporations. So basically, there was a state entity called the Florida Developmental Disabilities Council, and then this legislation passed, I'm not certain when, I should know that, I apologize, transferred it to a private nonprofit corporation by the authority that was existing in the Title 42, Chapter 75, Section 6000, etc. But Chapter 75, Section 6000, etc., that was repealed. So the state statute says by the authority in Section 6000, 6021, 6024, Section, etc., we go into Florida, by the authority given to us, transfer this state element, state agency, to a private nonprofit corporation. Number one, I have never been able to find the name of this private nonprofit corporation. And B, I don't know why you would transfer it to a private nonprofit corporation, but I'm not going to
interesting though, and
discuss that.
It was a formal council, and now it's a private nonprofit corporation. So it's interesting that I can't find that information. It's just interesting, I'll say the least.
Yeah. It's not surprising that the state of Florida would do that. That's the kind of thing they've been interested in doing for a long time. Yeah, some folks up there are interested in privatizing things. The merits of doing that are not something we're here to discuss. We're here to discuss why the state statute, Section 2, is arguing that it has the authority to do this because they possess it from Chapter 75, Section 6000 of Title 42 of federal law when that was repealed. Section 6000, everything, that's gone. It's not there. So it's so it exists because of federal law that is no longer there.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, Conor, and I think the last thing we were just talking about, for people at home, technology, you can't live with it, can't live without it. We had a slight technical glitch, but we're back now. I think you're talking about the U.S. Code Title 42, even though it's pretty long. You were going into the Chapter 144, the Development, Disabilities, Assistance, and Bill of Rights.
Yes. I found the text that I think was repealed in Title 42, Chapter 75, Section 6000, etc. And that seemed to have been moved over to U.S. Code Title 42, Chapter 144, also called, well, the subchapter of Chapter 144, subchapter 1, Chapter 144, called Programs for Individuals with Developmental Disabilities, has the same name. There's a Part B to this subchapter called Federal Assistance to State Councils on Developmental Disabilities. That would seem to give the same authority, but number one, I just found this new text by luck, and there was nothing on what remains of the page citing the repealed federal statute about migrating the text over to a new chapter. I found that by luck. It's easily not findable for a lot of people. And that is very counterproductive, because if you're repealing federal law and moving the text over to another chapter, ideally you would want your citizens and everybody
Exactly.
to know that the text is still legally viable, but moved somewhere else, not completely ignore anybody able to trying to find it. And
But
also, huh?
it's almost as if they're purposely making it difficult to time, or maybe it's organized when it comes to things like that.
I don't know. I'm not going to try to understand the will of 535 members of Congress plus the U.S. president. I don't know how many of them are still there. I can't find the repeal text of Chapter 75 that they got rid of, so I can't compare it with Chapter 144. But the matter also exists that the statutory material in Florida law, that is still invalid because it does not mention that the text got repealed and moved to Chapter 144. So technically speaking, the federal authority that is mentioned in the state statute is non-viable. The Florida law has to be repealed to allow this nonprofit developmental council to exist. And it seems that the legislature and the executive of the state of Florida, such as the Agency for Persons with Disabilities of the state of Florida, have completely dropped the ball on this. It's not a surprise that the state of Florida has done this. I think we could all go into a long series of our faults with the state government of Florida, specifically the legislature. But Florida has apparently been disadvantaged because this federal law has been repealed and redesignated for 25 years and 19 years.
Yep.
So actually coming closer on 26 years and 20 years now, because I first started writing this in 2019. And guess what? We're in 2020 now. And the legislative session for the state of Florida of the year 2020 has been over with for a few months. And guess what? Nobody thought to bring this up. Why doesn't the state of Florida know about this? Why doesn't the state of Florida care about this? Why why has not the state of Florida done anything for 19 years and 25 years? And why are they not aware of a simple change in federal law?
That's a great question.
And
So frustrating.
why? Yeah,
Question.
and also, what is the name of the nonprofit that this state agency got moved to? Leaving aside the question of why you would move it over to a nonprofit, we can not go into that, I guess. But the people of the state of Florida, they're not stupid. And they've normally tried to do a good job in disability rights. They have made it their focus more than the Democratic Party has at times. I acknowledge that. State law chapter 393.
Okay, so Connor, great information. Thank you so much for doing the research. What are your closing comments? What are your final comments that you want the viewers to know about your article?
I would very much like for this council, the Florida Developmental Disabilities Council of the state of Florida, to work, whether it's in a nonprofit or whether it's a government agency of the state of Florida. I think is a debatable issue, but if the legislature and the executive of the state of Florida don't feel like changing it from a nonprofit, then that's fine. I think nonprofits can do well, provided that they've got good governing structure and they've got good amount of funding. They've got good people and support from the community. But if it is relying on state law, that is relying on federal authority that doesn't exist, then the state law has to be changed. it
I agree.
should ideally be a simple thing. Hopefully the existing repealed 25 years ago federal law that ideally the federal law that exists now is the same as roughly the same as what existed. So not much has to get done on the federal congressional level because that would take a long time.
It does.
It shouldn't be that hard to bring up a bill like that in session next year and get it changed, because it's not like you're creating a big program or radically changing a program. You're not. But a simple thing like this should not be left up to me, who's not even paid for it, to find and figure out, when there are lots of people, elected or otherwise, in the state of Florida who are running it, who are literally paid. Some of them are appointed, some of them are elected, to get this looked at and understood and do it. Why it's not been changed, I don't know. There are
biggest question I have also is like why that hasn't been changed, but it's some things we'll never know. We never know what all the congressmen and congresswomen are
yeah,
maybe the priorities. That could be the only reason why I could think that it's not like that.
yeah. I have always thought there's been a good amount and quality of disability rights advocates in Tallahassee. So I don't think that's the problem. I think it's who they're talking to and trying to get to listen to them. Maybe elections this year, we can get people who know how to look at something like that. Also, I look forward to one day getting paid to do this. That would be fun.
You're like perfect at this. I can tell you have a passion for it. I can tell you have a drive for it. So always put it in the universe so you can do this very full-time job, because I can tell you love it.
Thank you very much. That would be good.
Well, hey, Conor, thanks so much for your time, and thank you, the viewer, for watching this. It's important to stay involved and stay plugged into your local political scene. There's so many things on the national level, but there's things happening in your backyard and in your state that affect you. So again, this is the Hillsborough County Young Democrats, and we will see you next time. Thank you, guys.